Good evening, America. How's everybody doing tonight? Another week, another Monday. Everything's passed up and through, and I'll tell you what. Oh, it's been crazy. Even today, I mean, come on, think about it. Like, what do you expect to have from a Monday with everything else going on? I mean, there's literally nothing going on a Monday. Nobody's in Congress. Nobody's in the House. They're all spending time on the really nice places everywhere else. And what do I get? Well, I get a text from my wife or a Facebook message from my wife, and she's like, oh, look at this great recipe. Look at this wonderful recipe. And I look at the recipe, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, another delicious food meal. Because I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed food. I enjoy food a lot. And my wife really enjoys food as well. And it's very hard right now because my wife has gotten to the point to where she said, you know what? I need to lose the baby weight, and it needs to be gone because the baby weight is too much for her, and she doesn't like it anymore, and all of this other stuff, and she, you know, all the things that go along with ladies and the baby weights and everything else. So, you know, she sends me this thing, and it's a great recipe. You know, you take big Idaho potatoes, you bake them in the oven, you cut off one of the sides, and you scoop out all the inside. You mix it in with some eggs and yolk. And then you put, you put diced onion in there and some fresh basil, and you mix it all together in a big old slurry, and then you fill the potatoes back up with this slurry of egg and everything else, and then you top it with finely shredded, nice mozzarella cheese. And then you bake it in the oven again. I'll tell you what. That looked freaking delicious. They had the side cuts and the front cuts and the open cuts and everything else, and it looked amazing. And I'm sorry, Roz, that you're having a little bit of a problem with the video. It's probably on your side. Everything is fine on mine. But, you know, just reload it. Try again. Sometimes the Facebook feeds don't like that. But, you know, she has that, right? And she sends me that in this eggy, potatoey, cheesy goodness of delicious, tasty. Right? And then, you know, the realization of what has to happen really comes into play. It's like, she really wants this. I know she wants this, but you know what she actually doesn't need is exactly that. Exactly that. No, you're not listening to Spoonie. I just, you know, this happened right before the show, so it's right fresh in my head. I'm sorry. It's just, as a small guy, I'm consistently hungry, and, you know, I want to eat all the time, but I only have 2 meals a day. And so when my wife brings something like that up into the thing, but, you know, you get it to that point, right? Okay. So you get that going, and you know what? I might do a Spoonie show one day. That might be good. You know, one day down the line. Anyway. So, but here's the deal, right? So we have to do the portioning thing. It has to get to the point. And so now I'm to the point to where I'm talking to my wife and I'm trying to get things going and set up with her. And I'm like, here's what you do. Here's how you set it up. You know, if you want, you got to eat smaller meals. You got to eat smaller portions and everything else. Bear with me, guys. It's Monday. And so I go through the whole portion there and I go through the idea behind it. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to have to just write this entire thing down, aren't I? I'm going to have to set this up, and I'm going to have to be the one to implement this, and I'm going to have to be your willpower because you have none. She has absolutely no willpower, and she agrees. And that's the point. She's over on that side prepping up her rice that I got her to prep, and for herself, not for me. But it's the same idea and the same purpose of everything else going on. You got to prepare for what you want to do. You've got to prepare for the actions that are going to take place, for the events to occur so that you do not fail. One of the ways you guys can prepare for all of those actions and everything else going on is go to patriotmobile.com. What I mean by that is you don't want to fail in your identity and your idea that you're going to go through. You don't want to fail in the thought process of funding or defunding Planned Parenthood. Well, the only way to fail in the thought process of not being able to defund Planned Parenthood is to keep your cell phone service. If you go to patriotmobile.com or you go to 1-800-A-PATRIOT, that's 1-800-272-8746, they will not only buy out your plan for $500 a line or $1,500 per account credit, but they have super fast, super reliable cell phone service nationwide, and a little bit of the portions that you give to them go to the foundation or the charity of your choice. So you can not only not support places that go through the entire deal of supporting Planned Parenthood and the big mobile companies and everything else that you don't want to support, but you can also make sure that the people that you do want to support get a little bit of that cheddar. Speaking of cheese, go to patriotmobile.com, 1-800-A-PATRIOT. That's 1-800-272-8746. There's going to be more food talk later. I'm just warning you. It's not because of me, but it's because of something our president did. And he did good. He did good. So I'm going to mention it later on in the show, but I just wanted to kind of portion it out there. Oh, portion it out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, so I titled this A Plague on All of Your Houses, mainly because of a couple different things. Did anybody hear the story January 11th about Brazil? No? Nobody? Nobody? Bueller? Oh, Dylan, you started your diet back again. Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. Well, apparently, if you go to Brazil, it is currently raining spiders. Yes, that's right. It is raining spiders. See, hundreds of tiny little black spiders have appeared to be falling from the sky in Minas Gerais, Brazil. You see, the specific type of species of spider that I cannot pronounce settled in a nearly invisible webs that they spin in the sky. Yes, that means sky spinning spiders. Many people have been posting the videos of everything that's been going on. The videos have been viewed like 32,000 times. Roz, you're ordering Riduzone tomorrow. That is amazing. Once my wife stops breastfeeding the baby, we're probably going to get Riduzone for her. I might take it as well because I'm hovering around the 200-pound mark. I know it doesn't look like it because you can only see half of me, but I am actually almost 200 pounds. Yeah, I know, right? I know. It is crazy. My wife's like, "Nuh-uh." Yeah. And no, I'm almost 200 pounds. It's crazy. And I don't look it, which is great. But that's completely beside the point. So, nuke it from orbit. Yeah, I know. I would nuke the spiders from orbit as well. And that would be a terrible thing. But so that's one plague, right? That's one plague, a plague of spiders over in Brazil. But there's not the only plague that's happening. You see over at Islamist's holiest mosque in Mecca, there appears to have been a plague of locusts. Mrs. Defender. Yeah, she's in the kitchen making her rice. No, she's not going to get her own show. She's very camera shy and microphone shy. She even hates talking on the phone. Like she'll text you. She'll text you for days, but she will not talk on the phone to save her life. That is completely beside her personality there, Rocky. I am obviously the outgoing person in the family. So you have a plague of spiders in Brazil, and over in Mecca, you have a plague of locusts. You see, in Saudi Arabia, a particular location in not Israelis, but Islam's holiest site, Mecca, recently has been inundated with a swarm of locusts, crickets, and cockroaches. Social media users have been posting images and updating the several videos of swarms of locusts in the great mosques of Mecca, the holiest in Islam, and it has been focused on the Hajj, the pilgrimage, which draws millions of Muslims to Saudi Arabia every single year. Well, you know what, Matt? Yes, I am going to hit on this story because it went well with my plague of spiders. Yes, you said it on Sunday. By the way, Matt Holloway, the HollowNet, over Sunday nights. He has his own show, not here on Mojo, but he does have his own show. Go find it. It is pretty good. He does have a good spin of ideas on things. But yeah, I am going to hit on it. I'm not just taking your stuff. I'm taking it because apparently God doesn't like Brazil, nor does he like Mecca at the moment. And it just happens to be that way. Quote, we have harnessed all efforts available to speed up the eradication of the insects in the interest of safety and comfort of the guests of God's house. Quote, or Allah's house in their way. Yeah, Roz, it is kind of biblical in that way. I mean, if you go over to Matt's thing, he read out what did you read out? Exodus? Is that what it was? You read out Exodus? Yeah. The report suggests that the breeding in southeast Egypt and the Red Sea coast of Saudi Arabia and Oman was smaller than that which plagued Sudan and Eritrea. The swarm was helped by good rains following a cyclone, a very severe tropical storm affecting Yemen, Somalia, and Oman in particular in 2018. See, it's funny. It's just funny to me. You have multiple religious organizations that found their foundation in this area. You know, the basket of foundation for all of these. And you get the entire point of it. You get the entire idea. Matt. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You didn't cut a show yesterday, but you are going to cut a show soon. So keep it going, buddy. Keep it going. Please do. But you have the idea that all of these religions and foundations, they came from this one place. Okay? They came from the same place and the same ideas. And locusts, especially swarms of them over multiple lands, was a sign that you were doing something wrong. What are you doing wrong? Maybe killing everybody, arresting them, and forcing them to pay a jizya is not the best way to do what you need to do. Maybe it's not. Maybe what you need to do is instead, go the more peaceful route, the more westernized route of Islamic faith, and not Islam, but being a Muslim. Not Islam in the way that you think of Islam when we come to Islam, and it's the whole idea that you're going to, be this hardcore extremist for Allah, and you're going to do this entire thing. No. Maybe you should go the way of, some wonderful people that we have in this area, the reformists. Maybe you should work on the pre-Medina era. Maybe you should do that. Before you went to Mecca. Before you went on your own and you decided that you were going to destroy all other nations or make them submit to the will of your God. Maybe if you did that, you wouldn't have swarms of giant locusts infesting Mecca. Or maybe it's just the fact that it happens to be the time for locusts and such, and you just got hit by the wrong place at the wrong time. Coincidence, as it were, maybe. I don't think that's the case, because generally coincidence isn't real. There's no such thing as coincidence. It's more to the effect of there's, some things that happen. You do wrong things, and things happen to you over time. And it is what it is. It is what it is. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. It's just one of those situations where I look at and I'm like, all right, somebody out there angered him. Hope it wasn't me. Looks like it wasn't me this time. But if it was me, I'm definitely going back to do some praying. Just saying. Just saying. And you know what else you need to do? One of the best things that you can do is to protect yourself and your family. Because in times like this, in a world like this, where you have, not only do you have crazy extremists or people coming across the border or the drug traffickers or the cartels, and I don't mean the people that are on the radio early in the morning before I mean the bad ones, or the government itself. There are so many things out there out to get you, and it's best idea for you to defend yourself and your family. You should go to traguns.com. If you go to traguns.com, that's Tar River Arms, by the way. Use promo code. Excuse me. Don't use the promo code. Just tell them that Steven Airey sent you over at Mojo 50. You know, let them know that, so that they know what's going on. You'll be able to get not only some of the best guns in the world, but you'll be able to interact in one of the best, the newest 3-dimensional, high-quality imaging systems that you have available to you on the internet right now. Not only that, but you can, with their HD cameras that they have, you can zoom in to the nth degree. I can see the fingerprints that they left on the gun right here on the trigger when they were setting the gun down. And what I'm talking about right now, I'm looking at the FM America SCAR 20S FDE Special Combat Assault Rifle. This is a .308 caliber semi-automatic. It is amazing. They have it for $3,999. It's $39.99. It is normally $4,500. It is normally $4,500. They have one left in stock. It is a crazy looking design. It is awesome. I kind of like it. It's one of those box setups. It looks a little clunky, but I can tell that it would be with a pistol grip design and the way that the butt of the stock is. Oh man, I bet that thing would feel so freaking comfortable in your hands right now. If you go to traguns.com, tell them that Steven over at Mojo 50 sent you. This place is veteran owned, veteran run, great guns, great prices, and great service, man. I tell you what, nothing better over there. Plus, very, very soon, coming the 21st and after, you will be able to do layaway and consignment options that'll be tracked live through their website. So if you don't want to buy it now, wait until the 21st. You can put down a little bit and continue until you get it by yourself. That's traguns.com. Tell them I sent you over at Mojo. All right. Before we head to the break, I want to talk about this a little bit. So one of our listeners, Erica, she sent me this because she thought I might get a kick out of it, and I do get a kick out of it. Did you know? Of course you knew, because everybody knows that Google is doing everything it can. Everything it can. Man, I wish I was getting a kickback right now, Dad. I wish I was. It'd be amazing. But everything I can off of their devices to monitor every single part of your life. What do I mean by that? Well, they now have revealed their plans. Patents recently issued by Google provide a window into their development activities. While it's no guarantee of future products, it sure indicates what their interest is going forward. They want to not only examine your moods, but your movements and the behavior of you and your children throughout the day inside of your house. See, one patent reads, according to the embodiments of this disclosure, a smart home environment may be provided with smart device environmental policies that use smart devices to monitor activities with smart device environment, report on these activities, and or provide smart device control based upon these activities. What does that mean? They wanted to monitor all the environmental factors that are going on inside of your room where it is available at all points in time. Not only the way that you speak, but what you're saying, the emotion that you're giving off, the volume that you have, which means that the mics, that everything about them, all the monitoring software that they have in these devices are going to be full bore, always processing, always through. They're going to make sure that they're always on. And this kind of brings to the point, remember that story I sent you guys where, see, over in Europe, Germany, and everywhere else, you can you can petition whatever government you have a smart device on, or whatever government that actually runs services for you. You can petition them for your entire online history of the year that you were there. And remember, the story I sent you that those guys were getting, so the one guy, he went through and he petitioned it. He got an entire file of a year's worth of somebody else's smart home questions, where they were talking to Google, asking questions to Google, and you could hear things in the background. Sometimes they weren't even asking questions. They were just going through their day, and it just picked up on something, and it decided to record for a couple of seconds. If you don't remember that, go back a couple weeks. I talked about it. It is a crazy thought process that goes in. These people sent the wrong information to the wrong person because they store every ounce of information they can on you on a daily basis. If you use any of their services, or you use any of their materials, or you use any of their search engines, they are tracking every single step. No matter what goes on in your life or in your days, every single step that you make, they're like Sting in that terrible song. Every step you take, every move. Yeah, my wife started humming it. That's amazing. She got it immediately. I didn't even have to say Sting. She already talked about it over in my ear. It is great. It's a creepy stalker, but it just so happens to be your smart home device. I say that as a man knowingly having a smart home device in my house. I have one of the little Amazon Echoes. We got it for free basically because there was a little gift card and everything else. It was the Police, but Sting was the singer. Okay, I got you, Rocky. I got you. Sting was the singer of the Police, all right? I don't care that he went solo and did the whole deal. You know what? That's not even an issue. It was Sting. It's his voice. That means it's Sting. I don't care that it's a band. The band didn't matter in the first place. They were only really good in the very beginning of the 80s, and then he went solo. And he's still making music today, which is weird. It's weird. Yeah, I do need actually. I do need a. Oh, actually, I need a actually. Rocky, that would be really good. Oh, don't worry, Jana. I know that Rocky is a smart aleck at all points in time, and it is the point. We need some more actualies and everything else going on, because if we don't have that, oh, you know what we really need? And then he became a wrestler. No, Dad, that was a different Sting. That was a different Sting. The wrestler Sting and the vocalist Sting, two very different people. Very different people. There were no high dives off the third rope for that man. Yeah, that's the other Sting. That's right. That's the other Sting. You don't want to go to that Sting. That Sting is not a good idea. And then there's another thing that's a Sting, and that's a drug Sting. That's a bust. That's a drug bust. That's a Sting. It's a Sting operation. You can also get stung by a bee. But you know what? It's okay, because here's the big point of this. Every breath you take. Yeah, that's it. Every move you make, they're going to watch you the entire time. Every single day of your life will be at least monitored, if not controlled, by either a company or a government in the next 10 years, if it isn't already. That sound right there means that it's time for a break. So does my singing. All right. We'll be right back, folks. And we're on break. Yay, breaks. Oh, let's see. Oh, you guys over in the MeWe chat room are all talking Kel-Tex and guns and everything else. I'll tell you what, you guys are freaking amazing. Yeah, it would be novel on the radio, except for that currently right now my dad sounds like Elmer Fudd. Once my dad gets teeth, I'll invite him on the radio show. and we'll do some singing. That'll be good. Once he gets teeth. See, it used to be when I was really young, what would happen is he'd be like, all right, son, you sing the low notes, I'll sing the high notes. And he could sing the high notes. And I was struggling to reach the low notes, but he could sing the high notes, and that was good. That was good times. Cigarettes may have stopped that from happening nowadays. What? What, Dad? What? Karaoke Mondays, karaoke Thursdays. I mean, it could be any sort of day that we can do karaoke. 5 years of your life, Jada, have been actually from Rocky? Man, I'll tell you what, that's, you know what, now that I think about it, that is a lot of your guys' show. Oh, by the way, if you like having conversations with the show host and everything else, make your way over to the show right before mine. The show right before mine. That guy, crazy man that he is, the Rants of Izzo. It's 2 hours of nonstop conversation between you guys and him about literally anything you want. Hey, look at that. We're back. This is Defenders of American Exceptionalism, Defenders Live with Steven Airey. We are live here on Mojo 50, running through the days, getting everything down, trying to make sure I don't screw up. Of course, I am going to screw up because that's just what's going to happen. And I'll tell you what, man, there's tons of stuff going on right now. One of the things that you guys need to do as soon as you can is you need to go to charitymagnets.com. See, Charity Magnets, they make some of the best products. They're high quality, beautiful pieces made for those who are law enforcement supporters and enthusiasts. They have a huge community of people, law enforcement professionals, military members, families, first responders, pretty much anybody who is willing to hold up a set of honor and dignity and to help others in a time of need. Not only that, but if you go there, you use the promo code MOJO, you get $5 off. That's if you go to charitymagnets.com, use a promo code MOJO, get $5 off. And every purchase that you make from there, a small portion goes to Cops for Kids with Cancer. That organization has given $2.5 million in donations for cancer research. That's charitymagnets.com. Use the promo code MOJO, get $5 off, and it's right there. Okay. So this is a situation of you're doing it wrong. And here's what I mean. Thousands of Los Angeles teachers are going on strike again. This is the second largest school district in the county, in Los Angeles County, or excuse me, in the country. In the country. And they join a growing movement for better school funding and higher teacher pay. The bad thing is, like, if you go to the story itself, it's over on Vox. It shows a picture of a whole bunch of teachers, and they've got all these signs in Spanish, which doesn't make sense to me because we're an English-speaking country. I know they're in Los Angeles, but if you're going to be an educator, you at least should be able to use English to speak to the children of this country. See, Monday morning, tens of thousands of Los Angeles educators will leave their classrooms and go on strike. They did already, throwing the weight of the country's second largest school district behind a growing national movement of school funding for higher teacher pay. says it right here. The strike comes after months of fruitless contract negotiations with the teachers' unions in the Los Angeles United School District. You want to know why unions and school districts and everything else have fruitless negotiations? It's because public unions don't work. You can't hold the public ransom for a group contract. When doing that, all it does is raise tax rates for everybody else, which means you raise the price of everything for everybody else. The unions asking for a 6.5% raise from the schools district to spend more to improve the quality of students' educations, except for you're not actually asking to improve the quality of education. See, there's proven studies. You can have huge advances in education with less money. Less money. I know, right? Did you like the Batman voice? The strikes are ready to come. And they go through in the entire thing. But less money. Better education. What better thing can we have? We know for a fact there are multiple studies over multiple years going back 40, 50, 60 years. We add more money into the process. We add more money into the system. School funding goes up. Education drops down nationally. And the entire point of this is that, if you pay your teachers more, I get it. Teachers don't get paid enough. That is true. Teachers don't get paid enough. But the school districts and the unions aren't actually using the extra money to pay teachers more. They're using it for funding projects. They're using it for school funds overall. They're not using it to make sure that they can get the highest quality teachers involved, because once you're in a union, you don't have to be a high quality teacher. Once you do education as a union, or you do education in the system that is our current system of education, you can't be a high quality teacher. It forces you to teach to the test. You can't teach to a test and get higher pay. The reason why you can't teach to a test and get higher pay is because, one, you're not actually educating a student. You're just making it so they remember a whole bunch of information to regurgitate once. I know, because I did it the entire time I was in school. You learn how to regurgitate information once, and then you throw it away because you don't need it, or you don't want to need it. You don't learn how to actually think. You don't learn how to educate yourself. You don't learn how to learn. You learn how to memorize. I have a sister who is a teacher. She is one of the best in her grade range and everything else. She is one of the best. She can take an F student and make them an A in a matter of a semester, if she's given the opportunity and the ability to have free reign over that classroom. But she doesn't. She can't. She doesn't have that. And unions who fight for higher pay also fight for her to be shackled with these national things, with these national setups and these educational standards that are unattainable, with the idea that you are going to teach every kid the exact same way. You can't do that. That's not how it works. Kids don't think the same. You can't teach boys the same way you teach girls. You can't teach introverts the same way you teach extroverts. You can't teach kids that are very hyperactive the same way you can teach kids that are very sedated. It doesn't work that way. And yet everybody is just cookie cutter to national systems. And if you take that and you understand that, then you understand the reason why nobody gets behind, other than people who are in unions, nobody gets behind these union strikes of these teachers going out and saying, we need more pay to help these kids. No, you don't. No, you don't. More pay would be good. You need freedom. You need the ability to teach in that class like you would teach anywhere else. You need the ability to think outside of a classroom setting. You need the ability to think outside of the test. That's what you need. You need imagination, the willingness to help people, and the ability to teach others. If you don't have that, then you shouldn't be a teacher. If all you do is go through the passage, go through the paperwork, do the process, if that's all you do, then you're not a teacher. You help people memorize. And that's nowhere close. That's nowhere close. You can't do that. That's not helping our future generation. That's not teaching these kids what they need to learn. All it's doing is forcing them to not have a mind of their own. It's forcing them to become indoctrinated willingly. And that is beyond the pale when it comes to education. It's no longer education. It is not something that you can educate. It is something that you are indoctrinating, and that is one of the reasons why nobody gets behind this stuff. That's why when people say we need more pay for teachers, people don't listen because they don't see the results. They don't see these kids coming back with better imaginations, better willingness to actually do their work, more willing to go out and actually be adventurous and understand and learn, more willingness to go and read. They don't see that in most of these kids. What they see is the same thing that they grew up with, which is, another boring day, which is going to lead their life to, another boring job. Pushes their life into the idea that they're just a cog in the wheel. They're just a cog in the bigger picture of things, and they're not worth anything but their job value. And it leads to terrible, terrible depression, to say the least. That's just it. Yes, Erica, that would be a great idea. Get rid of the Department of Education. Let the communities run the schools as they see fit, because that is the best way to do it. The more local the standard, the better off these kids will be. The reason why we have a national standard is because they think that a national standard will make us, as a country, raise up. But it doesn't. It makes it worse for us because we can't experiment throughout. We can't say, okay, well, if you want to do that sort of thing and you want to do that Common Core math and you want to do that crap, you can do that over there, but we're going to do the traditional method, or we're going to be a school that actually teaches the Bible, or we're going to be a school that actually teaches education the way that our founders set in place. We don't have that ability anymore. We don't have the ability to teach our kids. We don't have the ability to set through and say, okay, we're going to do it this way, and this is how it's going to be. Department of Education is no more. It does not need to be. It is dead. It has ceased to be. It needs to go. Exactly, Erica. No Child Left Behind was a stupid act. You know what? If your child failed a grade, your child failed a grade. That is it. That is all. Guess what? They need to be held back because they need to learn it better. And that's okay. That's okay. Not every child learns the same things at the same exact pace. Not every child runs things at the exact same pace. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to learn something. Sometimes somebody just can't understand what they're doing because they're looking over there daydreaming. Got to learn how to keep those kids focused. If you're tired with all of this crap, the same way that I am, I know what you need to do. You need to get the Right On game. Go to rightongame.com, use the promo code MOJO50. You get 10% off on the game. Trigger warning, microaggressions are contained in the box. If you are a millennial snowflake or a snowflake in general, you will be offended by the contents of the box. Please retreat to your safe spaces. It has different counterparts and everything that's going on, varieties of categories going on, from race hustle, wussifications of America, the earth, snobs, Islam abomination, Hollywood hypocrisies, millennial entitlement, campus coddling, and so much more. Why would we do this? Why would somebody come up with a game like rightongame.com, like Right On Game? Because mocking the left just feels so right. So go to rightongame.com, use the promo code MOJO50. MOJO50, get 10% off on the discount. And you'll be happy that I sent you there. Exactly. That's why I think the way I do, Dad, is because you've been putting that thought process in my brain since I was a child. Got to be able to think for yourself. You got to be able to fail and then learn so that you can succeed. You have to be able to let yourself, somebody has to let you fall. Which is another Batman reference. Mr. Bruce, why do we fall? To get ourselves back up again. Exactly, Mr. Bruce. That's the point. The point of failing is so that you can get up and learn and then win. There's your bell. All right, so before everything closes out, all right, we have 15 minutes or less, a little bit less than 15 minutes. So, did you guys, so we heard about the Green New Deal and everything else going on, but did you know that they've run reports on the Green New Deal now? Real Clear Markets, same place as Real Clear Politics. So Real Clear Markets out there on realclearmarkets.com. They have a new thing out where they're talking about the new Green Deal. See, the cost of the new Green Deal is actually going to be crazy. It's going to be astronomical. It's going to be way out there, farther than you can think. By their own admission, the 2016 Green Party presidential nominee Jill Stein estimated that the jobs program would require an additional, this, by the way, the Green New Deal was originally set up by the Green Party and was then adopted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Maybe I should have a shot every time I do that name. Anyway, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez introduced the Green New Deal into legislation. She wanted to put it into a bill form and everything else, and so she's been talking about it lately. If you go back to the Green Party, Jill Stein said that her party estimations, it would require an additional $400 billion annually, and for just the transition to renewability, and it would need an additional $200 billion annually to keep it going. No, Jane. So I would not die of alcohol poisoning if I did the guitar strum and everything else, because I would make sure that I only said her name in moderation, which would help everybody. That would be $6 trillion on a 10-year budgetary window. Well, no, it wouldn't. Sorry. Hold on. Real Clear Market. No. That's $4 billion. They're saying $6 trillion. Yeah, okay. Yes, that's right. So $6 trillion on a 10-year budget. She would introduce this, but she wouldn't pass a bill for $5 billion for a wall. Just saying. Quote, this level of taxation would hurt productivity and investments in the economy because it's useless. It is completely useless. We do not have the current technology to invest in making sure that this green energy would work. Not only that, but it is so much more affordable. We have so much more usable energy in quote, fossil fuels. By the way, it's not actually fossil fuels. You know that, right? Everybody knows that. We're not using dinosaur juice. It's not from fossils. You can make gasoline, you can make the product that gets the oil for the gasoline in a few weeks. You can make it. It's just compressed vegetation. That's all it is. It's compressed vegetation that turns into the oil that we see that then gets refined into gasoline and everything else. There's nothing to do with dinosaurs or anything else. So I'm sorry. Don't mean to burst your bubble. But we're not using dinosaur juice. It's just plant products. It's all natural anyway, guys. Oil is all natural. It comes from the earth. It comes from the earth and the plants that created it after long processes, currently long processes that we can make smaller because we can do it in labs of heavy, heavy heat and pressure. Just the same way that you make diamonds, you make oil. Except for with different products. That's all. That's all. It's terrible. Well, but the cost almost misses the point. Implicit there is the cost. The cost would make sense if it were smaller. No. The problem here is the intervention whereby the politicians with no skin in the game try to bend the will of the actual marketplace. What that means is basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to force our hand. Instead of allowing this green energy to grow and to flourish as it would if the market was allowed to do itself, do what it does by itself, they're trying to push the hand and progress it faster. This is always a problem because the government never does anything right. They're always putting too much cost in it. They're always using too much red tape. Everything that's involved with them, you have to add about, or you have to multiply that by about 10. So anything that the government does, multiply it by 10, then you go and you do the entire portion there. But I digress. If you have this idea that green energy is good, it is. Green energy is great. Solar power is working its way to good. Wind power, not so great because the wind is intermittent, and the actual power it takes to push one of the turbines, really, the cost of adding those wind turbines everywhere is it nullifies the cost. It really, that's all it does. You cannot produce enough energy from the wind. Even in high wind areas, you cannot produce enough energy from those turbines to make it cost effective, to say the least. The initial cost overall plus the cost of maintenance throughout the period really hinders the product overall. So you have that. Yeah, you can do hydroelectric power, but that's you have to dam up a couple more areas, and nobody likes to dam up areas because they make lakes, and nobody wants more lakes for some reason, even though it'd be great for swimming, and you could protect wildlife that way if you wanted to do that. But nobody wants us to put any more dams or anything else in the way of the water streams and flows and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Fine, whatever. You could do nuclear power. That is actually a greener power than everything else that we have, and it produces more energy overall. I mean, what are you doing? Striking atoms against each other. Yeah, that's a good idea, sort of. Maybe not so much, but apparently the biohazard waste is too high, even though the only major effects that we've ever seen have been in major incidences, and they've been very few and far between, even though there are thousands of nuclear power plants in the world today. Thousands of them in the world today. They're quick to build. They're efficient. Their power output far outweighs their initial cost, even in the first few years. You'd be able to get us off of coal burning within 10 years if all you did was build a whole bunch of nuclear plants. But nobody likes to live next to a nuclear plant because they think of The Simpsons and the three-eyed fish and the multi-headed animals and everything else, even though that's not what actually happens, and it's really not a big deal. And overall, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It just is what it is. It is what it is. By the way, do anybody else, do you have sleep problems? I'm asking because this next story here, problem sleeping. Do you have problems where you can't get enough sleep during the day, where you can't sleep at night at all? Do you have problems where you have to take naps during the day and things like that? And I'm not talking about you, Dad. You're getting old. That's why you have to take naps during the day. But what I'm talking about is this. See, apparently, if you have trouble sleeping, the studies have now shown that people who often take naps during the day that have to take naps during the day. Not just they just do it because they do it, but people who have to take naps during the day because of, I don't know, insomnia, things like that. They're more at risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's and other brain problems. See, those who like a daytime snooze tend to have more, quote, tau protein that form in the tangles of their brain, causing dementia. And the lack of deep sleep fuels rogue proteins in the brain to destroy the neurons inside of the brain. So you can't get deep sleep when you take a nap. And if you have insomnia and other things like that, then you don't get deep sleep throughout the night, which means your brain doesn't refresh and recover, and you can't get rid of those rogue proteins that actually attack your brain overnight. So along with the rogue proteins that are coming through and the fact that you have tau proteins that form due to the daytime sleeping and everything like that, this can cause major issues as you get older. A study of more than 100 older people found that those not getting enough quality shut-eye had more tau protein, leading to memory loss and confusion. It could link to nocturnal habits being monitored to help identify what the condition is. In particular, if it's a deep restorative slow wave sleep, that is essential. That declines naturally as we age. So apparently, the older you get, the less slow wave sleep that you get, and the more just top level sleep. That's just like, oh, my eyes are closed and I'm asleep, but I could wake up at the drop of a hat. In men, it starts in the mid-30s, so right around my age. In women, it starts in their mid-50s. Let me see here. Quote, it was slow wave sleep, which reflects quality sleep. So the key is it wasn't the total amount of sleep that you have. It was the total amount of deep sleep that you have. If you can't get deep sleep, at least a few hours of that deep sleep, you will start having protein buildups in your brain, tau protein and random free radical proteins in your brain going through. And there's my dad going to sleep because he needs to get his nightly rest. It's 10 o'clock for him. Anyway, there's been multiple studies going through. They've been going through this entire process because they're trying to see the effects of Alzheimer's and things like that and why it's actually affecting as many people as it is. And it turns out that people with sleeping disorders, it occurs more in. The older you are, the more sleep disorders you have, everything goes wrong. Your body starts breaking down. When your body starts breaking down, things just happen over time. It's not that good. It's terrible, no good, very bad things. And overall, what's going on with this? I mean, what are you going to do with this, right? What are you going to do with this information? Well, one of the things you can do is you can go and you can try and monitor your own sleep, either with, you could put in like a little video camera, or you can monitor the time in which you're sleeping. You can have a heart rate monitor, which actually measures how slow your heart rate is during the night while you're sleeping and everything like that. You can sync it up because you do have your heart rate actually slows down as you sleep. Your body, gets through the processes of the day. Oh, that's not nice. You can listen to this podcast and you can use my voice to put you to sleep because it's very lulling. My wife loves listening to my voice when she goes to sleep. It's great. No, she doesn't. No, my voice is pretty grating. Anyway, but you can find ways to fix those things. And if you have sleep issues, go see a doctor. That's it. Just go see a doctor. Make sure you're doing that. Now, a couple things I wanted to get to before the closing of the thing. Apparently, Mr. Donald Trump, our president, has decided that he was going to help out the people, all the staffers and everything in his White House, by feeding them McDonald's. Check it out, guys. Look at the video images here. This is amazing. He's feeding McDonald's going through. And look at this buffet. He went through, made a huge order. This is good, President. Good job, Mr. President. Very good job. I just wanted to hit that up on the very end. They're all over Twitter right now talking about how amazing it is. Guys, that's the show end. Go check us out, doaeshow.com. Go to mojo50.com. Check out everything there. Check out our stuff. Go to doaeshow.com/shop. Get some swag. Anyway, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.